I have been reading so much, it feels like the words are leaking out of my ears. Hey everybody, it's Anna, and welcome back to my channel. Whew, boy, it has been a while since I sat down to film. Things have been really good. They've been really busy. This video is going to be just a little bit more of a general chat/life update thing. I haven't really planned this. I've just written some notes of things that I want to make sure to mention and talk about. So grab yourself a cup of beverage, whatever kind you want. Today is English awake breakfast tea for me because I don't know when to stop when it comes to caffeine, and I also drink a ridiculous amount of tea every day. This is just, by now normally I've switched over to herbal tea. Nope. Not today, bitches. Not today. I hope that nobody is offended by me saying the word bitches. It was kindly meant. My apologies. So, let's see. Oh, hot. So hot. Okay, so the first thing that I want to just go ahead and get out of the way is an announcement. I am filming this a few days in the past. By the time you see this, yes, I will have filmed it several days in the past. And I just wanted to let all of you know that you may see me uploading a little bit less frequently for the next couple of weeks. That is because we are going to be having some family and friends visiting us for some time. And as we live in an apartment, things are going to get a little tight and close quarters. So I may not be filming or uploading as regularly as I would like, but I'm sorry. I have a life of people coming to see me and coming to see Seattle, so we will be, not wanting to film with air mattresses and whatnot in the background. All right, so let's go ahead and move to my next item on my agenda here, my very professional agenda, let's see, the update. Right, update for the Reading Women Challenge. So, as of right now in the Reading Women Challenge, and if you don't remember what that is or you want to learn more about it, I will card the video up top that you need to go check out. I am currently in the midst of reading Only the Animals by Carridwen Dovey for this challenge. This fulfills both the read a short story collection and read a book by an Australian or Canadian author. Dovey is Australian, and this is a series of short stories that are told from the perspective of various animals, all of whom have some type of association to prominent historical and literary figures. I like this book. It isn't really wowing me at the moment, but I think it's interesting concept, and I really like the story of the tortoise that I'm reading right now. It's about a tortoise that kind of makes the odyssey of the European literary scene from Tolstoy to Virginia Woolf to getting stuck in the wolf's house when it's bombed during the London Blitz. I'm really enjoying that tortoise's voice. The tortoise is also named Plautus after the Roman comic playwright, which I appreciate because I studied Plautus's plays in school, and it's always nice to see an out-of-the-way classical reference in your books. So yeah, that's what I'm reading right now for the challenge. Again, this book isn't necessarily anything super special. I am about halfway through it. Some stories are better than others, but we're making our way through. It was a good choice, I think, to fulfill 2 of those challenges. Okay, next up are some books that we have on the TBR for the Reading Women Challenge. First is The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. This is going to be fulfilling the Read a Classic and Read a Fairy Tale retelling. This is actually a collection of several short fairy tale retellings by Angela Carter, who is a modern British author that was active in the latter half of the 20th century. I have read Angela Carter before. I haven't read this specific book, though. I have heard really great things about it. I have professors and former colleagues from my PhD program that used this in their coursework for teaching students and whatnot. I have heard that some of the feminist stuff in it reads is a little bit dated, but whatever. It's still a really important classic book to read, and I am very excited to try this out. Let's see if we can find out which ones Oh, cool. There's an Earl King retelling here. There's a lot of stuff about like wolves and snow children. I like the Earl King. The Earl King is really creepy. Okay, and then next is to read a book in translation and one that is published by a micro press. Oh, just kidding. This isn't published in translation. So next is to read a book by a micro press, and that is Sultana's Dream by Begum Rokeya Sakawat Hossein. And this is a book that I found out over at the lovely Jen Campbell's channel. I will link that downstairs so that you can go check her out. Maybe about a year ago, so I don't remember exactly in what video this was, maybe book haul. And I'll go ahead and read you the blurb so that you can get an idea of what this is about. So, Sultana's Dream first appeared in 1905, 10 years before the American feminist and novelist Charlotte Perkins Gilman published her feminist utopia Herland. Sultana's Dream is an appealing story of reversed purdah, the seclusion of women, in Ladyland, where peace-loving women overpower aggressive men through the power of their brains. Begum Rokeya Sakawat Hossein, who lived during the last years of colonial rule in East Bengal, was a quiet and determined pioneer of Muslim feminist thought and writing, championing Muslim women's rights to education and freedom. This was her first full-length work in English. This edition of Sultana's Dream is a fascinating dialogue across time and cultures. Durga Bai, a brilliant woman artist from the Gond tribe of central India, has drawn her response to this 100-year-old feminist fable. She delights in drawing women in a variety of situations. The illustrations of this are fantastic, and I am interested in stories about early feminist utopias, so I cannot wait to read this. As of right now, those are the only... itchy nose. As of right now, those are the only books that I have currently planned out like into slots for the Reading Women Challenge, so that is what we shall stop. We're just gonna move past that. We're gonna move past me stumbling over my words because I'm tired. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of other reading like challenges and themes and stuff like that going on. I've heard that it is Fembuary, also known as Feminist Lit February. I've heard that there's February, which is being hosted by Sarah Jane over at the Book Life. Again, check downstairs to figure out about her, where people are reading books about the fae and fairies and stuff like that. I guess I kind of am unintentionally participating a little bit in both of those, just because I do read a lot of books that have like a feminist lens and tend to be by and about women. I should probably make a more in-depth video about that soon, but don't hold me to that because I cannot hold myself accountable to everything that I promise. Okay, so the book that I am accidentally on purpose reading for February is Eyes Like Stars by Lisa Mantrev. This is the first in a young adult fantasy trilogy that takes place in a magical theater. The main character is a teen girl named Beatrice Shakespeare Smith, and she is left at the theater as sort of this foundling child, and she grows up in it, and now the time has come for her to leave the theater. I read these books a while ago, probably when I was in high school. I was definitely a teenager, and I have been meaning to reread them for a while because I had purchased the trilogy when they went on sale at my old bookstore where I worked so that I could give them a reread, and I'm just now finally getting around to that. Good job, me. These books are different than I remember. For one thing, the writing is a little bit more chaotic and all over the place than I usually like to read. And it's a lot steamier than I remember. Lil Anna, you were into some relatively steamy stuff considering, you know. Damn, girl. Yeah, so I am enjoying this, rereading it, if only for purely nostalgic reasons. I think the story, again, like, is what really captured my attention as a teenager, and that's what I'm staying for, but the writing is, like, meh. If I was reading this now, if I had just recently picked this up now, I don't think I would continue reading it, but you know what, it's fun. And we have 2 more books in the trilogy that we want to read as part of February. Royal We? Wow, okay. We have 2 more books in... I did it again. there are 2 more books in the trilogy that I want to read as part of February, as well as The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. No spoilers. I know a lot of people have finished that book already. It was the Owl Crate book. I have not had time to start it yet. Everything has just been too chaotic and way too busy, but I'm hoping to get to that in February. I want to pack a lot of things into the shortest month, which is probably not the best idea, considering that we have my anniversary, my Valentine's Day with my fiance, which is like, yeah, big deal, because, you know, we're getting married this year. It's our last pre-newlywed, prenuptial Valentine's Day, so gotta, you know, enjoy that too. And then we have like family visiting, friends visiting. We have my birthday coming up later this month. Did I mention? My birthday is later this month. I'm so excited. I actually didn't mention that in my previous videos because like I pre-filmed knowing that I was gonna have visitors, and yeah. So there you go. So yeah, my birthday is going to be this month, which means you will probably see me haul a lot of books because I am a big fan of buying myself books as birthday gifts. Books and also cool socks. I have very cool socks. Someday I'll do a fun nerdy socks video if that's something that you would like. Okay, let's think about what else we are reading. So I'll just give you, I feel kind of conflicted about wrap-ups on this channel. I'm not really sure whether I want to do them, and if yes, how often and what format. I know a lot of people do the like monthly or weekly wrap-up. First of all, I don't think I can do a weekly wrap-up. I read a lot, but that doesn't necessarily mean I have meaningful things to add to the conversation about every book that I read. Some books I just read to kind of like get in, get out, enjoy it. That's it. Some books I tend to read with like a more thoughtful, critical lens. Like, yeah, you read with a critical lens all the time, at least I do. But yeah, I don't necessarily want to talk as much about every single book that I read. So weekly is too frequent. And then monthly, I think it would just be too long. I don't really want to, like, I usually read maybe like 10 books a month, more if we're counting comics and graphic novels. So I don't necessarily want to discuss a ton of books because I don't want to put that kind of pressure on people that are watching these videos, and I don't really want to put it on myself to do that. So tea is much warmer, less hot. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna just give you a little what I'm currently reading snapshot while I figure out what I'm gonna do with wrap-ups. So let's get into it. I finally started Crane a Keel by Martin O'Caden, which was the Graveyard Clay or the Dirty Dust Irish literature classic. I am about halfway through this now. I'm really enjoying it. This book is very abstract. It is very difficult to follow because it's almost completely told in dialogue, but you don't really know who's speaking, and most of the time it's this one main character. I can never remember her name. I keep getting her confused. It's the main character, Katrina, and she's just a talker. Like, she can't stop herself, even including being dead. She can't stop complaining about the fact that her family hasn't put up a suitable memorial on her gravestone, or that these people that are living in the pound plot where you have to like pay a pound to get your spot instead of 15 shillings are like so high and mighty and snooty and stuff like that. I love her, even though she's kind of an ass. Like, she's really rude and nosy and a busybody even in death. But I kind of love her. And then occasionally, like, the perspective will just shift without warning. So we'll be getting another character talking to Katrina, and then you'll be like, oh, wait, this is a conversation. So I'll go back and, like, reread a little bit. And then occasionally there will also be chapters where this thing that's, like, the trump of the graveyard, so it's basically, like, the trumpet that blows and calls out the end of the world, will just sort of address the audience, the readers, as an aside, like an extended soliloquy, I guess, about like the meaning of life and the temporality that we experience as humans. So yeah, this is a lot of fun. I'm reading it kind of slowly because, again, like I said, you have to sort of go back and reread things that aren't necessarily clear or obvious upon a first glance. But look at this. Look at these little tabs I have going here. I'm loving this. I'm really glad I picked it up. Okay. We are also rereading, why do I keep saying we? What is wrong with me? We are also rereading The Fellowship of the Ring, which is the first of the Lord of the Rings books by J.R.R. Tolkien. I started reading this in early January, and I'm not that far into it. I'm about 100 pages in here. And you're gonna hate me, and I kind of hate myself, but these books are kind of awful. Yeah, I read The Lord of the Rings originally as a teenager. I read them because I wanted to watch the movies and I wanted to make sure that I had the books read before I watched the movies. And they're just really slow. We're 100 pages in and they haven't even made it to Bree. I don't remember the books moving at such a slow pace, and a lot of the way that the characters are just sort of these bumbling gentlemen is really annoying. It's not the most efficient way to tell a story. It's not the most enjoyable thing to read. I'm gonna keep reading it because I like the story and I love it, and Tolkien's writing does have some wonderful shining moments where you're just like, wow, this is really what he's trying to get at here. But, oy, there's a big but there. Yeah. Like, they're classics, but I'm realizing that they are far from the amazing, perfect, flawless books I remember them as. So I'm not disappointed in the books per se. I guess I'm just a little more disappointed in myself at my experience rereading them, because I kind of feel bad that I am not enjoying them as much as I did the first time around. But we shall see. Okay, what else am I reading? Okay, last book is a peek pick from the library, so next time you see me, I probably won't even have this book anymore to wrap up, and that is The Graves, A Fine and Private Place, a Flavia Deluche novel by Alan Bradley. I guess it could be pronounced Flavia, but in my mind I keep calling her Flavia, so that's what you're gonna get. British pronunciation of Latin vowels. Sue me. This is a series, this is a series of cozy mysteries about this girl, Flavia Deluche. She is, I think, around 13 now. I believe she's 11 when the series starts out, and she is something of an amateur detective as well as an aspiring chemist. This is an unusual take in the kid detective genre because usually the kids are just sort of like sleuths and they're good at looking around for clues and observing things that the adults wouldn't normally catch. But Flavia takes it into a more forensic investigation type thing. The series, I think, is very strong. I think that Alan Bradley often does a good job of writing a child character who doesn't just come off as super sanctimonious. Occasionally she does, and like that, those are the books that are the weakest, are the ones when Flavia just comes across as kind of like a goody two-shoes know-it-all in the way that this is a reread rant for another time, but we're going to talk about the series of unfortunate events when we talk about rereading on this channel. Wait for it. Just wait. You will see. Okay, so Graves, A Fine and Private Place is an Andrew Marvell quote. Cool deal. Poet from the 17th century. That's my jam, even though I'm an 18th century girl. This is about Flavia finding a dead body floating in the river, and it's wearing like a costume from the Swan Lake Ballet, and I am not that far into it, so that's pretty much it. She's found the dead body. She has recently had some distressing issues go on in her own personal life, so now she's retiring to a pub with her two sisters to figure out what's going on. And then the last book that I am currently reading is Mockingbird Volume 1, I Can Explain. And this is by Chelsea Kane, Kate Nimschik, Ibrahim Mustafa, Joelle Jones, and Rachel Rosenberg. So this is a graphic novel series about Mockingbird. I don't really know a lot about her. I'd never heard of her before I picked this up, but the second volume is called My Feminist Agenda, which is what led me to want to read it. It is hilarious so far. I think I'm about 2 chapters in. Oh, 3. I'm just about to start chapter 4 in this. I was just reading it yesterday afternoon. And it's pretty great. We're not really sure, like, what her deal is yet. Does she have powers? Is she a mutant? Is she just, like, a person that got caught up in S.H.I.E.L.D.? And, yeah, I don't normally read a lot of superhero comics. The big exception is Miss Marvel and Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. I read those, like, new series that have been published, you know, in this decade. So yeah, I don't read a ton of superhero stories, but this one I think I will continue with, and I will probably mention it at some point as I make more videos about comic books in general, because that's a thing that I want to do. Okay, let's see, what else do we want to talk about before this video gets ridiculously long? Comics, rereading. Do I have anything else I want to talk about? I feel like there was something, but I can't remember it. So if I do remember it, I will try to film it before all of the visitors and well-wishers make it over here. If I don't see you before then, how are you all doing? Let me know down in the comments. What's going on with your life? What are you reading? What kind of beverages, warm, cold, or otherwise, have you been enjoying lately? And I can't really make an apology for this long rambling style of video because I am a long rambling style of talker. It's very difficult to get me to shut up. I believe sometimes I belong on a porch with a rocking chair and a glass of sweet tea, or maybe a Pim's cup. Because I'm not just like a grandma, I'm like a tipsy grandma. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more. And I will be seeing you in the next one. Bye.